Hey guys, welcome back to the New Tennis Era podcast. My name's Anthony Hirsch. Today I'm going to be talking about the Montpellier final between Felix Auger-Aliassime and Alexander Kovacevic. The American playing in his first final. FAA was able to win his 7th title of his career, which is really impressive also because you remember he had that big streak of losing finals at the start of his career, lost 8 finals, but now he's picked up 7 titles, his 2nd title already of the year. His last 3 finals have been all on different surfaces: clay, indoor hard court, outdoor hard court. But of course the indoors is his specialty, and this was a very high level final. Both players served incredible. With Felix, you will come to expect that he will serve quite good, but he hit 19 aces, but he was also, I thought, moving very well, was very impressive athletically. His forehand was very solid. And I'll get into the weeds of everything and the key stats and also what happened in the match. A lot of key points in the match. This was a very good final. Very good final, to be clear. We only had one ATP tournament going on this week, also Davis Cup, which is not ATP, but it is a thing. And it's, people... I don't know, it's not ATP, but it's like the same kind of level in terms of fans' eyes, I think. But this was a very, very good final, and it's also exciting to see FA back, kind of confirming that he's kind of back to a degree, winning his 2nd title of the year. So, yeah, I'm going to get into it. Please don't forget to subscribe to Quality Shot Tennis. Please don't forget to like the video if you're enjoying it, and check out all the other New Tennis Era podcasts as well. Once again, Anthony Hirsch here. So, let's talk about some of the stats. So first of all, let me just point out how insane Felix served here in this match. He's been serving great all week. That's part of why indoors works so well for him. He's such a good server. He serves big, but more than that, he's such a great spot server. The serving stats don't lie. 19 aces for FA to 7 aces from Kovacevic, who had a great serving day as well, let's be clear. But 74% first serves in, which is phenomenal. 78% first serve points won, 63% second serve points won. He went 1 for 1 on break points saved, which is probably the most key stat of them all. And it's not that one break point that I'm talking about, it's the fact that he only faced 1 break point. That's a big stat. Kovacevic was able only to win just 1 of 3 break points that he faced. First set was very one-sided. The latter 2 sets were not at all 2 tiebreakers. The second one was incredibly exciting. 2 championship point saves by Kovacevic, playing very ballsy tennis during the pressure moments. But I think the confidence of the experience that Felix has in these finals came through from the former world number 6 trying to get back up the rankings at the end of the day, because I feel like when Kovacevic, it's not just what I feel like, it's what happened. When Kovacevic was finally gaining some momentum or had a chance to actually take a lead, he actually took his foot off the gas pedal. He stopped taking as many chances. He stopped playing so aggressive. Very gutsy when they were even, or when when he was facing down the barrel, even down those championship points. The first one, I believe, saved with a backhand down-the-line winner off that one-hander that was working for him so well all week, including in this match. It was the forehand for Kovacevic that was struggling at the start of this match. Forehand to forehand. Felix's forehand looked great. His athleticism moving up to that forehand, his speed was good, his moving well. And I feel like forehand, Kovacevic had nothing. On the backhand, he was doing okay. Felix's backhand is also not as good as his forehand. Kovacevic's backhand was very impressive all week, like I said. But forehand, not doing so well. But as the match progressed, he actually was able to be very even in the baseline points, which really made the second and third sets basically a coin flip. But it was the experience that really tilted that coin to land on Felix's side. I was impressed with Felix's consistency. Both players had positive winners to errors ratios. It was a high-level match. Both players seemed to think so at the end of the match as well when it concluded, and they are correct. It was high level. It was good fight. It was good intensity, getting the crowd into it as well. Even though it's a Canadian taking it on an American in France, the French crowd was very happy to and excited to watch it, even though there are no French players involved. But there's a lot of excitement from the crowd as well. And yeah, those are some of the main kind of things, but I'd like to go into the key points that actually went down in the match as well. The first set felt disconnected from the match altogether. It just didn't feel like the same match because Kovacevic played a few rather poor service games. Felix was playing really well and he just ran away with it. The 2-2 game actually, even though I felt like the first set it was the forehand that was letting Kovacevic down, it was actually the backhand to backhand, which was really dominating this game and which made Felix win it at the end of the day. Because let me go through a few points that happened here, and then we'll talk about how some of these patterns adapted throughout the match as well, and how those changed as the match went on as well, which I find really interesting. But in 2-2, in the first set, on Kovacevic's service game, the first break that Felix got in the match, Kovacevic's one-handed backhand just too central, just allowing FA to step in with his forehand, and also Kovacevic not making enough first serves in this game, and also he was giving Felix too much space in the court a lot of times, trying to run around his one-hander, which I really didn't think he needed to do as much as he was doing, because the one-hander wasn't working that badly, I thought. And at times he was able to hit some great winners off of it, but I mean, I understand if you rush that backhand it can definitely fall short, and then Felix was able to step in and dictate, so it is tough, but I feel like he was leaving space a lot for Felix, especially because Felix, like in this point at love 15, he was able to hit a backhand winner down the line because Kovacevic ran off to the outside corner and just let all that space in the deuce side go, and Felix was really good at taking his opportunities to step into the court, and like I said, there was a aura of consistency about Felix that was quite exciting for Felix's prospects, not just in this match and this tournament, but for the rest of the year. I mean, this is a player that beat Casper Ruud in Madrid last year and got to the final there, so you know, it's exciting to see Felix back in his domain and seeing him play at a high level where he's able to win a couple tournaments. But okay, so talking about this 2-2 game, a lot of backhand-to-backhand rallies and great depth from the Felix backhand, and Kovacevic just not able to keep it up on his own or in this game, and also just some unreal defense to offense from Felix in this game. Just managing to put Kovacevic side to side and move him while he's defending, and just goading basically off his backhand, just killing it off his backhand. Backhand was really impressive, which is a big thing to say about Felix, because Auger Aliassime isn't one of these guys that are going to be like, oh my god, this guy's backhand's amazing. Nope, there's so many matches where I just had this exact facial expression watching Felix's backhand as he'd spray unforced error after unforced error. Here, that was not the case. His backhand really allowed him to break in this game, and then at 4-2, his second break of the match, just a crazy level off the forehand for Felix to break. Some bad decisions also from Kovacevic, a poor drop shot, showing some nerves in his first final quite clearly, just didn't find his footing into the match at all. I think just watching the match after the first set, it seemed like Felix was going to win it in two. It didn't feel like this was going to be a super close contest. It was anything but straightforward from this point onward. Let me tell you what, after the 6-2 opening set, Kovacevic, very important point here for Kovacevic and what made this a very close match. Kovacevic serving at 4-4 30 all, and Kovacevic just absolutely superb off his backhand side. Coming up clutch, he let out a bit of a roar after this point. If he didn't win this point, Felix would have gone to break point. Like I said, Felix went 2 for 3 on break points in this match, and this was a very important moment for his confidence, also his confidence off his backhand side, and this was kind of the start of Kovacevic hitting some big backhand winners, and at this point, just a really high level from both. And we got to the second set tiebreaker, which was deeply extended. This was a very, very exciting tiebreaker. Yeah, it's a 250 final, but it's an ATP final between a player trying to win his first ATP title and Felix trying to win his second of the year, trying to kind of come back to the top 10, I would assume. So it's a pretty interesting moment and very tight, and Kovacevic is really playing at a high level. And the tiebreaker starts with another huge one-handed backhand from Kovacevic, just gutsy going for it in his first final. And then Felix really being clutch, some great forehand striking from him, just great quality to go up 4-3. I think, honestly, Felix's athleticism moving around the court to stay on offense with his forehand was the most impressive thing to me about this match. I knew he could serve well, but the movement he had moving up to that forehand and dictating the court was really impressive. And just consistency, but there were a few things that let Felix down in this tiebreaker. We'll get to that. There's a hugely important moment at 4-4 where Felix hits a big forehand angle. Like I said, Felix has been crushing it off the forehand side, just crushing it off the forehand side. And he does it again. It's an awesome return. Great angle. Kovacevic, impressive, not just leg strength, athleticism, etc., yada, yada. Also impressive confidence. He hits his own big forehand angle, cross court, to get to 5-4 for a winner. Amazing. Incredible angle from Felix, and then Kovacevic looked like he was going to have to hit a defensive slice if he was even going to get the ball back. He gets around the ball and just smashes a winner cross court as if he's Carlos Alcaraz, 5-4. Suddenly, big serves from Felix, clutch, gets the championship point, also a big +1 forehand winner. Like I said, Felix's forehand has been phenomenal, and also he's been really locked in, pretty mentally great. Save with a big serve out wide from Kovacevic, saves the first championship point. Then, continuing on this kind of, I'm not gonna lose just yet, kind of, I just playing high quality confidence from Kovacevic, holding on to this confident kind of aggression. He's kind of overconfident. He hits a wayward forehand to go down a mini break. It's now on, the tournament is on Felix's racket. One swing of a racket and we're done. And just to make it clear, 19 times in this match, Felix didn't just hit a winner serve, which he hit way more than 19. 19 times he hit a serve that Kovacevic didn't get back, that Alexander didn't get back. So that could have happened. That did not. Serve doesn't quite get a spot from Felix, and it's a pretty good chip kind of return. Felix is forced to come to the net. He hits a pretty big shot, and Kovacevic is ballsy, nails a backhand down the line right on the baseline, and fortune favors the bold. And that's not just a sentiment of, oh, if you do the right thing, you'll get lucky. It's like, well, I mean, I guess it's that, but it's like, it's not just about luck, right? It's about, I don't know, it's about the little things, you know, and the little things will go your way if you're doing the right things, right? If you are going for the right things time and time again, you'll get more of those little margins going your way. And here, Kovacevic did just that. A poor double fault from Felix at 7-7, and yeah, from then on, Kovacevic was able to hold and win the second set with a bad forehand shank from Felix, and Kovacevic actually winning on a forehand rally. Some impressive movement, athleticism from Kovacevic to his forehand side, and real fast from the match looking over on Felix's racket, looking completely over, and down 2 championship points. It's now 1 set apiece. And some of the stats for the second set, if you're interested, I'll just name a couple off real quick before we go to the third set, but both with a positive winners to errors ratio, but Felix with no backhand winners, according to Tennis TV stats, 6 backhand errors. And Kovacevic definitely more confident in the full court. This is obvious if you're watching the set. 5 out of 7 on net points versus Felix, who went 1 for 6. And even from the baseline, they are like just about exactly equal. And also Kovacevic, 88% first serve points won, which is absolutely fantastic. But also only 3 aces, so Felix is just not able to do well enough on the return of serve when he gets a racket on it. Let's just be clear about that. 3 aces, but 88% first serve points won. Those don't really go hand in hand. So Felix definitely not the best returner around. Let's make that clear as well. Set number 3, going over some of the key points just to end off this kind of match analysis. I won't go through every single game, but I'll go over just some of the key moments I thought, and I'll start with the first game because the first game was important. It gets close, Kovacevic holding some of the momentum from the end of the second set, and then FA with a clutch first serve down the tee at 0-0 deuce, and then another big serve down the tee at advantage. And 2 big serves from Felix at deuce when it counts the most. People talk about clutchness with, you know, a big forehand, big that. Clutch serving is a real thing. So clutch, Felix came up clutch with the serve time and time again in this match. Let's make that very clear. Confident looking from Felix coming up clutch. And there were a few times, you know, he'd give a fist bump, he'd give a roar after he's serving. You know, it takes kind of a mentally staying locked in and staying in the rhythm. That can get hard when the matches get real difficult and physical. And then, let's see. This I thought was the most important moment of the match. Or at least one of potentially two most important pivotal moments in this match. 3-3, love 30. Single backhand, single-handed backhand, Kovacevic's, is doing him very well as he gets to love 30. It just feels like he's cruising. He's just has this incredible momentum. But then he could have done better returning Felix's serve. He just chips it back super short. Felix guards the net really well at love 30. And then it gets to 30 all. And he's been stepping in all match. And now that he's favored and had the lead, like I said, instead of being aggressive and going for it, he's too short off his forehand. He's allowing Felix to attack and put it away, just like in the first set. The forehand to forehand, Felix is just dictating with the forehand. I mean, Felix has been in this position. He's gonna do what he needs to do. Kovacevic, you know, he was like, man, I've got the guts to fight back, but you have to have it's one thing to have the guts to fight back, but it takes just as much to keep the lead or to fight to really finish and win the match, especially when you're trying to go for such a crazy comeback in your first final. So I really feel like that split the difference for sure. And the nervy game just gets away from Kovacevic. And like I said, Kovacevic just allowing too much court to be open, running around his backhand. And then this was the other, in my opinion, potentially most important game of the match. I feel like if Kovacevic won that game, which he probably could have or should have maybe even, he could have won this match, let's say 6-4 or something like that, 6-3, 6-4, probably 6-4. But that didn't happen. Instead, we go to 5-5 and 15-30. Felix serving, and he's down 15-30. Some incredible forehand defense to offense from Felix. Like I said, just big shout out to Felix's forehand and the way he was defending off the forehand throughout this match and moving with that forehand. Insane backhand level from Kovacevic at this point. For the moments where the backhand faltered in the first set, the second and third sets, the one-handed backhand from Kovacevic has been mainline. I'm hoping that Kovacevic has more success down the road so that we can keep seeing that one-handed backhand. I hope that we keep seeing that one-hand backhand in general. But, alright, so here's the first and only break point of the match. So first and last break point of the match for Kovacevic. 5-5 advantage, and Felix hits a second serve. Big moment. This is not a rally to analyze. Why? Because Felix hits a serve and Kovacevic runs around the backhand. He actually gets a pretty good swing on the ball, but he misses it way out. He misses it way long. He doesn't get it. Like I said, gets a decent swing on the ball. He kind of waits for it to drop and gets a decent swing, but it's an awkward moment, and also he's leaving so much court open. He needs to get it low. He needs to get it flat. This was neither of those. He got it pretty loopy, so even if it did go in, Felix could have found his way back into the rally, even if it was at his feet. I don't know. So much pressure, this being your only break point, so kind of hats off to Felix again, because when you're giving your opponent just one chance, yeah, that can happen. Often the first break point chance that somebody gets, they don't succeed. That's why 15-40 is way better than 30-40. 30-40 break point is like almost nothing. Like 15-40 is when you know you're really in trouble, because 30-40, the server is still expected to win the point, right? 15-40 is the server definitely expected to win 2 points in a row, not as much. So, so anyway, that's what I would say about that. But yeah, just lacked a bit of acceleration to bring it inside the line, and just so much pressure on him. And just a great change of tempo also with the level Kovacevic was on. He was playing out of his mind. Or he was playing well. Let's not say out of his mind. He wasn't playing like Sinner in the final against Zverev or nothing. But, or Sinner against De Minaur more appropriately in the quarters of the Australian Open. But Kovacevic was playing really well. And for him, he was playing awesome. And Now it feels like instead of Felix, who's kind of had in the back of his mind that he's wasted his chance with the 2 championship points, now it feels like Kovacevic has wasted his chance. So it's a change of tempo, momentum, the mental side. And Kovacevic, though, holds to love to get to a 3rd set tiebreaker, which really makes it kind of feel kind of really like a crazy moment. Unsure who's going to take it, a lot of drama. But an important start of confidence for Felix with the serve down the tee and ace to start the tiebreaker. And then a good point, a good rally at 0-1, but Kovacevic allowing Felix to dictate early, he steps back once again, just not stepping forward when it counts the absolute most. He does well to fight back in this match, but when it's very important to step up in order to not lose the match, but it's equally important to step up to win the match, right? And that's not what he's not doing. He steps back, and he has a chance to attack the Felix backhand. He goes to the forehand instead. And also Kovacevic, not enough depth on the backhand. So it's 3-0 double mini break to Felix. He actually gives both of these mini breaks back. Once again, just more aggressive and ballsy with his back against the wall Kovacevic. But then, once again, he's just not aggressive enough during these next points. He then, at 5-2, I feel like really tries to force himself to be aggressive, but mentally he's not there. And Felix wins the tiebreaker 7-2 with an ace out wide to finish. Very appropriate end, his 19th ace. And Felix Auger-Aliassime wins his 7th title, the former world number 6. I'm actually not sure what his ranking goes up to, but I bet it's fairly high. It kind of reminds me of Matteo Berrettini last year. Berrettini winning 3 titles last year. He didn't end up top 20 in the world. He's also former world number 6. But I do wonder what Felix is now in the rankings. So he's number 22 in the rankings. And he's playing Rotterdam this week. And Rotterdam is a tournament that he's won before. So watch out for Felix. I hope he can keep this up. That's a pretty good number 23 through, let's say even, all the top 23 is very impressive at this point. Korda, Auger-Aliassime, Hurkacz, Khachanov, Feast, Tiafoe, Humbert, Musetti. So yeah, okay. And that was the Montpellier final analysis. Please don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed it. Please check out all the other new Tennis Era podcasts. Please don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it as well. Check out, keep your eye out for more podcasts coming your way and other stuff. And I will see you guys at the next one.